Hi, this is Paul from RTB Limited and our podcast, episode 2. And we're going to be interviewing Jason Thomas from Grassroots Collaboration Group. My brain didn't work for a second. So, Jason, tell us a little bit about yourself, bud.
Thanks, Paul. Happy to be here. So I am a 39-year-old dad, father of 2, happily married, working pharmaceutical industry. I have spent most of my career in the audit field with a focus on regulatory compliance, quality management, really putting patient safety first and product quality first. I would say over the past 5 years or so, I've been going to school, wrapping up my MBA, which I recently completed at the Stevens Institute of Technology.
Congrats.
So I now hold an MBA in leadership and innovation, which is it's definitely an accomplishment. So happy to have closed that one out. All right. So now that my Thursdays are free, my wife is chomping at the bit to get those nights back for her. But we're trying to see what the next chapter of our life is about.
Nice. And so you started Grassroots during the program, or tell me about how Grassroots started and where it came from.
Yeah, so our final class was a service innovation class. And we had some really good professors at the Stevens Institute. A lot of ex-CIOs who've seen a lot in the industry. So they really added a lot of value. So this class was a service innovation class, and we were tasked with identifying an existing service or product and somehow differentiating it, with other competitors in the market. A lot of people were focusing on Home Depot's tool rental, and I didn't want to do something, as simplistic as that. So I picked the startup incubator. There's a lot of them out there. What I've noticed is a lot of them are primarily focused at the academia level. Mm-hmm. So people like me who are, middle-aged and out of school, now finally out of school, don't always have access to those resources, as, most venture capitalists do and venture centers do. Right. So, I thought there's some value to really establishing this accelerator or incubator for people who are like-minded entrepreneurial individuals who don't have an outlet and don't have resources, so we can connect them and help them vet their ideas and get it to market.
Okay. So what's the goal then? Is really just to take existing ideas, give them a platform, a place to work, and to build out the ideas with what? Financial help, or tell me how you're working that.
Sure. Yeah, actually, we are in the process of redesigning it, because when I started this initially, I'm an idea guy. I've got 700 ideas written on my phone. If I don't do anything with them, they're going to stay on that phone. I'll probably drop it in the toilet bowl one day, and that's where they're going to go. So, I got really motivated over the past 2 years, and I want to start pushing them out, building them, and I just have this overwhelming desire to build. So, part of the reason for starting the Grassroots Collaboration Group was to seed the platform with my own ideas and see if there's any interest out there. Lo and behold, there was, and some of those things have taken off quicker than I had imagined. So where I'm at right now is I'm trying to balance some of those startup initiatives that we're working through right now, specifically in the medicinal cannabis space, focus on the regulatory aspects of that, helping harmonize some of the quality control standards across the states. And we're looking to form a bit of a quality coalition, bringing some of those GMP standards to the cannabis industry. And there's some other initiatives that we're working on that I just recently started having some conversations with. There's some investors who are interested. I have some people who are interested in partnering. And the more I get into this, the more I realize I don't have all the answers. And we probably will look for some additional help. So we're going to rebrand the platform to be more of a startup incubator, to your point, that has a monetary aspect to it that's going to be focused on retained equity in startups. We're going to offer venture capital. We're going to offer all the resources that you would need to start up your business, soup to nuts. Right now, we did a soft launch. Our goal is to have our first ring of collaboration partners. I've been calling it the King Arthur Roundtable, or the Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, 13, 8 more recently, for our female listeners. Just really that subject matter expertise that we want to have in-house. So we're going to start with that initial ring, and the expectation is that those collaboration partners grow it, add content, and help really contribute to the network.
So, you're talking about that regulatory and going back a little bit about the regulatory side on the cannabis. I think that's a huge opportunity there because, people will venture into cannabis when it becomes recreational and non-medicinal. And I think that would be their biggest concern. right? And in the past, there's a lot of, I think, the best way to say it would be scuttlebutt against the cannabis industry that, it's tainted, you don't know what's in it. Now you have a regulatory control mechanism put in place that will tell you, hey, this is 100% of this strain. There's nothing else added to it, our stamp of approval on it. So that's
exactly what we want to do. I mean, you have an industry right now that, pieces of it are vertically integrated. But a large portion of that value chain from, cultivation all the way through dispensary, the manufacturing, the packaging, labeling, those are all different organizations playing a role in that.
Mm-hmm.
How does that consumer, and patient really have that assurance that all those quality control standards were adhered to throughout the process? And how do they have the assurance that the states, we're not doing things across state borders right now, but we will. Those regulations vary across states. So, we want to offer that assurance to our clients that they maintain a state of inspection readiness for their business, as well as that assurance to our patients and to the consumers that they're going to have a product that has been thoroughly vetted at the GMP level, right? Because eventually the feds are going to come in, the FDA is going to come in, they're going to require it to be done. We know it's going to happen. We're just waiting for that States Act to be overturned, right? Which labels, cannabis as a class 1 substance, which is unconstitutional, in my opinion. So that's been a barrier.
A different podcast. That's a different podcast.
It's been a barrier, for the industry. And you've got Canada, who's now fully legal recreationally and medicinally. You've got Mexico, who's now legal from a medicinal standpoint. So America's like this little sandwich that's missing out on opportunity.
Yeah, I think business will dictate it, and I think the economics of it will dictate the changes sooner. And then when the government can make some money off of it, you'll see it switch much faster.
There's a lot to work on. I mean, listen, there's a lot of social justice issues, the expungement issues, the tax implications, the safety, how to educate your family about this, how to speak to your kids, how to do it in front of your kids. I mean, in 20 years, if we're all sitting out in the backyard, who knows? There's a big cultural
I think
change.
in 20 years, it'll be commonplace like a cigarette.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully cigarettes aren't around in 20 years.
Yeah. So, all right. So you have this platform. Now, I've only been exposed to one incubator when I visited South Africa, and it was basically a tool for small businesses to basically have a place to work and then get feedback from sharks or investors or just people who are teachers, mentors, trainers, whatever, to help them scale, right? Understand the finances, understand what I call the profits, understand the process behind building a business out, and then understanding how to lead and manage people, right? And I think that is, obviously where I built our platform, where we focus on those 3 pillars, and then, look at a business from a top down and say, okay, here's where you need to work, and here's where we can fix it, and offer solutions. I think that's a huge benefit, right? If you can have a place where I have this awesome idea, I don't know how to file for what kind of business should I open, LLC, C Corp, S Corp? How should I do my taxes? How should I pay myself when we start making money? How do I hire people? Who are the right people to hire? How do I build a culture? How do I, innovate on this idea? I think that's where this can really be powerful, right? And I think that's probably what your plan is at some point, right?
That's the goal. Yeah, I mean, the market's right for it. The market's done really well over the past year, couple of years, I should say. So there's a lot of momentum. There's a lot of financing. There's a lot of capital available. It's not going to be like that forever. Startups don't do well in recessions. But at the end of the day, we're well positioned right now to take advantage of that and to really add value to people that have ideas, to get their ideas out and to give them those resources, such as yourself and, people who have the ability to mentor and to coach and to get people where they need to be that have never done it before. Myself, This is my first company. Startup Incubator is my first startup. Kind of scratching my head at that. So, when I think about that, that's just tells me, be humble. You don't have all the answers. You're not going to have all the answers. I need to have a community of people around me, just like you would need if you were starting up a company. Mm-hmm. And that's the goal. I have ideas that want to get out. And, I'm looking to partner with people that have resources and ideas alike, so we can actually work together with the common interest at a local level, which is the other key part to our grassroots initiative. We want it to be local, right? It's one of our differentiating factors from a lot of other incubators that are out there. A lot of them are focused at an academia level, which is local and you can get together, but there are others that are very decentralized across the country. You look at LATIP, they have local chapters, but it's also a global international network. So something that we really want to focus on. We want it to be local. We want to have people in our community towns involved, especially in the cannabis industry. If they're opening up dispensaries, we want to be involved with the town and law enforcement to make sure that we can help the businesses thrive in that industry and not be set for failure.
Yeah, check the boxes correctly.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's the process to become part of GCG and how will it benefit them, whether as a partner or as a new business idea?
Right now, I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier, we are doing a soft launch. So the goal for me, I started this in October, was to push as hard as I can, building that network of collaboration partners between now and year end. And the focus for me has been on people I can trust. Trust, being local, and being affordable. Those are sort of our three things that we want to focus on as an incubator. So I've been partnering with people that I know, people who I've went to school with, people I've seen be successful like yourself, starting up their own companies, who want to help people grow their businesses alike. Those are the people that we're working with right now to build that inner circle of trust. Going into Q2 of next year, we're looking to expand that process. We're going to have a much thorough vetting process for our collaboration partners. So the onboarding process next year is going to look a little different because I'm not going to know a lot of people. There's going to have to be background checks. We're going to make sure they're financially stable, reputable. We don't want to partner people, with individuals who have, had a reputation in the industry as not coming through or following through on a lot of their commitments. So
right,
we want to be conscious of that. We will thoroughly vet our collaboration partners to make sure that we do have a community of trusted individuals to work with.
Nice.
Process, to your point, though, is something that we're going to work with. And right now, the process, the monetization piece of it, which I'm sure we're going to talk about shortly, it's something that we're defining. We want to do it right. And I need to bring in some of the financial expertise to get there.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I think that's going to be the big challenge, right, on the process side, right, is how do you go from A to Z through this whole process of I have a business idea, I want to be part of the grassroots, what do I get in return? How do I, once the platform is becoming scalable or the idea becomes scalable and I need more capital, how do I get capital? Where's GCG's back end on that for helping out in the early stages, right? So I think that's something that's going to be a huge challenge to iron out, and then putting it together on a, Gantt chart, however you want to do it, right? So everyone runs through the same Gantt. It's the same thing, right? Okay. So, what do you think we talked about the profit model a second ago, and I really kind of want to dive into it. And what are your high level thoughts? I mean, nothing's set in stone, right? And how do you see it working out?
So when I went into this, I'll go back to my class when I was defining the model. I sort of looked at a couple different revenue streams, one being an early startup subscription-based offering, content for startups, how to build a business pitch, a lot of that stuff that you would need, some mentoring, coaching, how-to videos, templates, business templates, connecting people with local resources for business formation. So we'd offer, a basic package, then we'd have a premium package, which would be more focused on the collaboration partners and ensuring that they had the tools that they need to help people bring their ideas to life, right? So there'd be an enhanced collaboration tool set on the platform, enhanced functionality that you get access to as part of that premium membership. So the subscription and membership piece is that something I was looking to really roll out in the first year. Because any startup, you're not going to make money right away off of, equity retained in an idea. You need to vet those for quite a while.
It's a 5-year plan.
Yeah. So I'm aware of that. So in the process, I would build out those offerings and have the service offering supplement the revenue stream while we're in the early phase, with the expectation of building out that retained equity, the venture funding and the capital raising and all that piece, those pieces to it in Q1 and Q2 of next year. We do have some investors right now that are looking to partner with us. So I think we're well positioned to tackle that early next year. And then lastly, we'd probably When I look at this from a 5-year perspective, where I want to be, we started with academia. We started with looking at schools and saying, would this work for that target audience? And we ultimately said no. But maybe it will in the future. Maybe this will be a platform that we can then bring back and brand and license at the academic level, and drop it into universities across the state, wherever else if the functionality is there and it has enough of an offering, which I don't know if it will right now, that's the goal. Yeah. So then you get into licensing revenue.
Right. And then I know that one place that I remember seeing, they offered a space for them to work, and then feedback, like I mentioned, some hardware and software for computer stuff. But they retained, I think, 10% equity in the business.
Sure.
Perpetuity, right? So they couldn't be diminished, and they always remain at 10%. So in that rare chance you get a unicorn, you make out nice. But sure. If you don't, at least you have, people are learning, or you're learning from the experiences, and you become a better teacher, coach, mentor, whatever, what you're going along. So on the people side, I think that's going to be a challenge, right? And I want to know how you're going to address it and figuring out how you're going to do it.
Yeah, you mean when you say people, you mean in terms of bringing on collaboration partners, what's in it for them type of model?
And then also on helping your incubatees
sure.
on the people side, because it's the one thing I've learned through my 20 something years of professionalism. Leadership is very hard. Good leadership is very hard to find, right? And I think that whether you're in whatever department you're in, it can really dictate the growth and the ability for people to even prosper if there's not good leadership, because that really will diminish how you work, how hard you work, if you want to work, etc.
Yeah, I agree. When it comes to leadership, especially in a startup, you got to lead by example. It's your company. It's going to be as successful as you make it. And that's the mantra for anyone coming in with an idea. We're going to help you. We'll hold your hand. You got to work hard. We will provide those leadership mentor capabilities. I myself have several mentors in the industry that I look up to and seek advice from all the time. I don't think you should ever stop setting a mentor goal for yourself, and always pick somebody to look up to, because that keeps you in that learning mode, right? You're always constantly learning, and you never get bogged down by failure or anything like that, right? So you're always motivated. And if you do fail, you're gonna fail, but fail quick, fail fast, and fail often, right?
Yeah.
But keep your chin up and have those mentors in your life. Surround yourself with this circle of people that I'm looking to build. And you should be successful as long as you have good people in your life that you can trust, that will help you, that have your best interest at heart. It's a recipe for success in my mind.
Yeah, and I relate that to my years of boxing and playing sports, is that you only way you're going to learn if you get punched in the face, right? And you'll learn to avoid that punch after a while. I mean, I wasn't born with this nose, so it took some learning. And I'm coaching my son with wrestling now, and I'm helping him in that respect, is that I want him to get uncomfortable when he trains, right? And he's like, why, Dad? I don't want to, that kid weighs more than me, or he's older than me. I'm like, that's the only way you're going to learn. Hey,
I wrestled, and the only thing that made me uncomfortable was the tights. But I plowed through it for 4 years. I was horrible. I think I had a record of like 3 and something every year. And I did it just to keep in shape for soccer, but I didn't quit. I stuck with it, and I love playing soccer. I was equally as bad at soccer, but I didn't quit that either. But I love playing it. I don't play sports anymore. But yeah, no, I hear what you're saying.
I mean, I think that it's the other thing I coach these kids is that no matter what happens, and you can use this for business, for sports, you always keep moving. If you take a baby step every day, that baby step will lead to something bigger in the long run, right? And if you're learning something new every day, it's even better, right? So that I think is, and these guys are little, right? They're like first and second graders, and I'm like throwing them through my leadership boot camp every week.
And they want to wrestle and fight. When they're home, they want to wrestle and fight.
Exactly. Every a couple nights a week, they're burning off a lot of energy, and their parents love it. They come home, they pass out, they take a shower, and I want
to get my daughter. They have a wrestling club in the town over, and I was going to try and get her into it, but we'll see.
Yeah, there's some girls. There's this one female wrestler this weekend beat up literally beat up one of my wrestlers this weekend. He was, her father or somebody around her must be a wrestler, because
Mhm.
she put this kid in a cradle as fast as I've ever seen it before in my life. I was like,
It's determination.
she got him, boom, boom, locked him down. It was over. And like this, locked down, like he was not getting out.
I'll tell you. This is a true story. When I was wrestling, actually there was a really awesome kid. I think he went on to win the states. I don't remember his name, but he had part of his arm amputated. So he only had, I think it was probably half of his forearm. And he went on to wrestle, and he built up so much muscle in his legs, and he was so determined to just keep going at it. He kicked my butt completely. And it was amazing. Not that I was good and that said anything, but just watching his determination in the sport, and other kids that have good leaders in their lives to push them. It's a recipe for success, no matter what whether you're an underdog or not. So.
Right, and I think that's huge. Right, is that the one thing you learn from individual sports like that is whether how to think on your feet, right, and then how to react to adversity and take adversity and keep moving forward. So and I think that goes into the next question is RTB means something to me, and I try to put that out to the world, is that no matter what happens, you get out there every day and you ring the bell, whether you're starting a business, you're growing a business, you're going to work, taking care of your family, whatever you're doing. So question I want to ask you, and I'm going to try to ask this in every interview, is how do you ring the bell every day, and what drives you to do it?
Well, first and foremost, I'm not a boxer. I'm a drummer, so I ring the cymbal, bang the cymbal, I should say. But no, I try and listen to my inner voice, which I don't always do that well. It's usually right 90% of the time if you actually pay attention to it and take action on it. And it just helps you lead by example. And when I do that, it's my family's happy. I'm getting things done. I'm getting things done at work. I'm working out. I'm feeling accomplished. It's getting up and just doing the right thing, right? What do you need to do that day that needs to get done? Get it done. Don't wait. Don't push it off. I did a lot of procrastination in my life, and I'm just at a point where I've just got tired of pushing stuff off. So get up, get it done, build it, do whatever you do, grow it. Just get out there and do it.
Yeah. So, JT, air high five. Thanks for spending some time with me today and talking to us about GCG and your plans moving forward. Obviously, I think that the mantra RTB is there with GCG every day, because you're working with these small businesses and you want to help them grow. And I think what you're doing is a great idea and a great platform. So best of luck, and however I can help, please let me know.
You got it.
Otherwise, don't forget to ring the bell every day, brother.
I will. Take care, pal.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Thanks for joining us for episode 2 of our podcast from RTB Limited. You can check us out at www.rtblimited.com and let us help you ring the bell of success every day. Have a great day.